So, while my game continues to lag because I just started recording, I would like to. Also, this is the Return to Jurassic Park missions, and it features Baby Cabot Finch, and he's. Oh my god, it's one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. Just hearing young Cabot Finch is so cool. Are we gonna hear him?
We've developed a DART-based solution to the symptoms. The causes, however, they run right to the core of these
Awesome.
dinosaurs, to their DNA. The fix will require a recompiled genome and new incubations.
There's 4. Sorry, 5. Oh, well, there's a fish. Yeah, I wanted to tell a story because it was a story that I only remembered recently, and I'll need to see if I can find the I'll need to see if I can find the screenshots to prove this. But I was getting back into TF2 a while ago, right? And made a couple of videos on it. You can hear Baby Cabot Finch. Come on.
So I hear we've had a spot of good news. We're ready to proceed with incubating new dinosaurs.
Like
John,
the
you were never ready to bring dinosaurs back to life.
A little bit more belief, Dr. Malcolm, and we'll be there soon.
Chaos doesn't require belief.
dang it.
This is it, isn't it? We're back in the dinosaur business?
There he is.
Calling it paleocuration. But yes, young
Baby
Cabot, yes, we are.
Baby Cabot Finch.
Starts with our eggs. Dr. Grant,
Instructing
this is where you
connect
literally
3 hatcheries.
make history.
History with teeth and claws and aggressive dispositions.
I'm ready, John. We'll start by constructing and connecting some hatcheries.
Anyway, yeah, story. Just, I'm gonna just, I'm sorry, but just to tell this story, because it is a decent one, I will need to pause the game to actually be able to think coherently. Uh, so, it was just like any other day, I was practicing, getting ready to record some Team Fortress 2, kinda, sort of preparing for an idiot's guide, more or less, if I really thought about it. Anyways, also, an idiot's guide. I swear I'm working on it. I swear to you. I am working on an idiot's guide. It's just. Man. I. Seriously. Props to all the, like, editors out there. Props to all the people who do making videos like this for a living. Because, dear God, I don't know how you do it. You guys are insane. But. So, I was preparing, and I was playing Engineer on Swiftwater, which is actually not a bad map for Engineer. It's got a lot of choke points, a lot of good places for sentries where you can keep your dispenser covered. You know, it's a good position to be in. Well, one person on my team wasn't super happy about the fact that I couldn't hold the first point. With no support against the entire enemy team, I couldn't hold the first point uh, forever. I did manage to hold it for a little bit, just not, for forever. And he was saying how bad of a player I am, and blah, 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 and that I was bad at the game. And there's something you gotta understand about me. I don't take games seriously at all, alright? Like, whenever you see me playing a game, I am not taking it seriously, because I don't play games for seriousness. I play games to have fun, you know? I just play games because that's exactly what I want to do. I want to play video games. I want to have fun. Apparently to him, fun was an imaginary concept.
The archive of genome data is a mess. We're gonna need to rebuild the library with some new fossil samples if we want viable genomes.
What can I do to help, Alan?
You can help keep the man in black and Hammond's shadow out of my hair for a bit?
Cabot and me, if I had to
I think
guess.
I'd rather try to break a wild T-Rex.
Don't give Finch any ideas. He'll think that'll make a great ride.
Probably right. But
Yep. And I'm worried that he can probably figure out how to talk Hammond into it.
yeah, I love the fact that in this universe, Cabot Finch has been part of the Jurassic industry since the fall of Jurassic Park. And I do also love the fact that he was asking if the Ranger teams did ride-alongs. But anyways, so with all that in mind, this guy was like insulting me because I couldn't do anything. I was being so bad. I couldn't carry the team because apparently he needed to be carried. So it was now time for offense. All right. I was playing on red team before. Now it was time to attack. Time to push the payload. And with the full weight of being incredibly angry from that guy basically insulting me for no reason. You know, I was really mad. I was so mad. I proceeded to as Beggar's Bazooka Soldier. Now, Beggar's Bazooka is like also just an FU to seriousness. Like if you wanted to be serious as a soldier, you would never use the Beggar's Bazooka. Like ever. If you would use stock, really. You would use stock rocket launcher, probably shotgun sidearm instead of a fancy banner or some boots or anything like that. You would probably be using stock. So I'm already screwing around. And as Beggar's Soldier, I proceed to get 87 points or something like that. I got a lot of points. I know I was top of the scoreboard. I think I had 80 points flat. And I was top of the scoreboard the entire round. Top of the scoreboard the entire round, and I also, while being top of the scoreboard, was over 30 points ahead of the guy who was saying that I was bad at the game. And I then proceeded to say, so, if I'm so bad, why aren't you at the top of the scoreboard and I am? Needless to say, he shut up real quick. But that is why I will never touch competitive. I will never. You guys could not. If you said that all I would need to do was stream one round of TF2 competitively, and I would get 14,000 subscribers, channel monetization with sponsorships, I would not take it. Because competitive of any game is just, in my opinion, flat out not worth it. Like, it's cool and all, and the people who do it, you know, I have a lot of respect for you guys, because you help keep the game alive, you know, and you help keep the game alive. You continue to bring more attention to it, sometimes on a global scale if it's tournament. but just count me out, man. I couldn't do it. Couldn't and wouldn't. Anyways, rant over and video over. I will see you in the next one. And I'm so glad you guys got to hear Baby Cabot Finch. I love this guy. This guy's gonna end up working his way into other Jurassic Park stories. I, I'm gonna end up just. Of course, they're all mine, but. Hang on. Is there anything about him in the archive? Characters. Where's Cabot Finch? Flip. No Cabot? Lowry? It doesn't take place until Jurassic Park. Or not Jurassic Park, until Jurassic World. Oh well. I'll look him up. Jesus. Rather not. Anyways. Yeah, I will see you all in the next video. I do, like, seriously, I have a bunch of I even have a story where a T-Rex, like a baby T-Rex, just screwing around accidentally scares off some rodents that were about to eat some raptor eggs and just gets adopted. And also, I feel I should, the backstory for, like, because my Minecraft character actually has some legitimate backstory behind him. Like, he's not just a character. I've thought into the lore of my own character, and he was actually originally a raptor that went through, like, there's gateways that span all time and space, all right? In his world, there's gateways that span all time and space. Shut up, notification. And one of these gates happened to be in his path when he was in the Cretaceous period, because he was originally a raptor, a blue raptor. Utah raptor, one of the big ones. And, you know, curiously, he went through this gateway, and for him, it was 15 minutes. You know, it was just pop through the door and run around for 10 minutes, and then he thought that he went out the same door he went in, but no, he did not. And if he had, then only 15 minutes would have passed. But because this, like, meta space that he went into by going through that doorway, it's kind of like Dimension Doors. Do you remember Dimension Doors for Minecraft? It's kind of like that. But if you go through the wrong door in that meta space, you go to where that specific door was. And it can be destroyed at any time as well. And it will vanish from the meta space. But since he went through a different door than he came out of in the Cretaceous, or from the Cretaceous, sorry, he just popped out into the middle of a snowy forest, like today, like in today's time. And so then eventually got in contact with some people by just, you know, meeting them in the middle of the woods. They were a group of witches, and they knew a spell that could turn an intelligent enough animal into a human. And ordinarily, this could only be done on a couple of things, and was forbidden magic, especially since it would wear off after a certain amount of time. But they decided, screw it, we can just turn him back eventually. And so turned him into a human, and he became the jokester that you see today. Like, that is his general backstory. He actually has two different backstories. One is that, the other one is that he was Like, he was born a fighter, basically. He had the love of the fight from the moment he was born. And so, when he was too young to do it, and this also takes place, alternate universe to us still has, like, mostly medieval weaponry. This is a legitimate story. This isn't just my Minecraft character anymore. This was a legitimate story I thought of. So, he enlisted in wars and fought in 3 different wars because of just his love of the fight, but he was only 12 by the time he had been in 3 wars. He was like the message deliverer at first, but then eventually he got put on the front lines and he loved it. But because that wasn't enough, at 14, he threw himself into a gladiatorial arena and proceeded to curb stomp it until he was 20, where he finally just left and just started doing his own thing. I love the backstories for a lot of my characters. A lot of my characters seem to have backstories grounded in war, though. Like war and violence. A lot of my characters have backstories like that. And so I wish that we had gotten to this point. I like how this went from a TF2 story video to me just explaining a bunch of stories that I have in my head. So there was one kingdom in the Nether, right? They were in this world. The Nether was cut off because they had sealed the Ender Dragon. It was their like ultimate prisoner, and Endermen could go back and forth, and they were trying to figure out a way to reopen the portal. The Endermen were the Ender Dragon's subservients. So they were trying to figure out a way to reopen the portal, but the only way to do it, the Nether was completely cut off in this world from the end. The Nether had no ties left to the end, except a few stray Endermen that could just barely get in. But even then, actually getting the stuff to open an end portal was so hard. It was almost impossible, and the process of actually making a Nether portal was completely erased from all scripture, even in strongholds. They erased every record of how to open a Nether portal, and they actually laid a spell that turned it off. They legitimately, like, it's like the Nether was disabled. But there were still people in the Nether, and now they were fighting. And one of these places, called the Netherwalkers, were ruled by a overly tyrannical king who, kind of similar to the Romans, if you had any kind of deformity or like neurological disease or anything like that, when you were born even, you would be killed. You would be executed. And if you couldn't brave the harshness of the Nether, then you were useless to them and you would be thrown away. They would legitimately just send kids that weren't good enough out into the wastes. Goodbye. Goodbye. We will find your skeleton at some point walking around with a stone sword. And he had the same neurological problem as me, called mirror hand syndrome. I believe that's what it's called. Mirror movement. It's something like that, where both my hands are basically trying to copy each other at all times. Which is why you'll occasionally see me, like, just randomly strafe to a different direction while I'm attacking something. Anyway, he was born with that, which was enough for the city to want to kill him. But the king was actually intrigued, and so struck a deal. He would be allowed to live in the gladiatorial arena. And he proceeded from the time he was 6 to the time he was 22 to completely shred the arena to bits. He was insane with weapons. And even was notorious for getting out of setups. If you don't know, setups are like when they set someone up to be killed when the Romans were finally done with their star attractions in the arena, they would put an unwinnable situation against them, and most of the time they would die because of it. He just kept getting out of them. And so eventually, the people who were, tired of being treated as serfs and people who were tired of the upper class living a luxurious life and not sharing it with the common folk or even listening to them, decided to host a revolution, and the gladiatorial arena was one of their primary targets. It was huge. It was a massive arena that was built, and this boy was the revolution's spear, and they made him king after all this went down, and he was determined that he would hear the voice of everyone. He had like 3 representatives, all right, that were basically the leading figures of each of the classes. So upper, middle, and lower classes all had their representatives that he would listen to. He would listen to the ideas of, and then him and his cabinet, which were his 2 underlings, would it was the queen and their son or daughter, whoever's turn it was that day. They would decide what to do, factoring in all viewpoints, not just their own. And then the nether portals opened up again. And a whole new host of bullcrap attacked their kingdom. Anyways, with that out of the way, I will talk to you all in the next video. Oh boy. Story time. It's a rough time. And also, if you're wondering what this is for, I am almost convinced that a T-Rex is going to show up here. Like, either there, or it's going to show up down here. Like, I am almost certain that a T-Rex is just going to walk out of the forest. Like, at any point, the T-Rex is just going to go... Anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.